Okay. Hello, everybody. Gaz Williams here, back after a little break. My regular show was going on for every single week, but I've had a few months off, and the reason for that has been I've had gigs and lots of other work going on. But I'm really glad to be back. And tonight, I am super excited. I say super maybe being a special word, to have Mr. Andreas Schneider joining me. Now, Andreas is, I guess, if anyone could be called it Mr. Superbooth, it's Andreas. Here he is, the great man. Hello, Andreas.
Hi, everybody. Hello, guys. Thanks very much.
Great. Well, first thing I've just got to make sure 100% is that we are indeed streaming. So if anyone in the chat room could just pop in a little hello and just to say that we can hear and see everything, then that will be great. Hello, Mr. Wiggly. Thank you for joining in. Hello, Ben. So I'm guessing everything's good. If you could just tell me that you can hear and see things, then we'll get stuck into this rather exciting show. Because, my goodness. Superbooth. I said Superbooth. Superbooth is the greatest. And not just in my opinion. This is fact now. Superbooth is the greatest event in the music technology calendar. And sadly, we couldn't have it last year for obvious reasons. But the great news is Superbooth is back and it's next week. Andreas, thank you for taking time to join us. You must be incredibly busy at this point in time.
We're a good team. We're all very busy, but it's 7 days from now, and we're very much looking forward to get the most things done that we planned.
Amazing. So, what I was going to say. So, this year, I think something that's very important for people to understand is just how Superbooth is going to adapt because of the kind of COVID restrictions that we're living within. Could you just give us a little explanation of how it will differ?
No problem. So we had the situation in 2020 that the event was already completely planned, and 2020 we could not do it, and we was a bit like in the very last minute we still hoped to say it will work out, but then we came to the place, no, it's impossible. That is 2.5 years ago, and I could force my buddies to make this home edition where still there's movie on the web, and what was together with Sonic State and others. It was a big thing for us to just make it movies from home, and we had a lot of fun with that. And then the situation went further, and we couldn't realize the 21 May thing, but we was from the beginning working to realize an event like the Superbooth under Corona circumstances with a hygienic plan where to leave the people in one-way things. The concept that we now practice has already been okay and would have been confirmed and allowed for May this year if we would have made it. But the thing was that at that time we was anxious that not the people from the UK, not the people from France, from Netherlands, they would have been not allowed to come in. So then it doesn't make sense. At least the Europeans should step together. And that's why we shifted the May event into September to say, okay, let's forget the May thing. Let's swap it over to a day where there's a sunny, warm weather. Andre, our managing director making all the bookings, said, I want to have a weather where I can go in the evening until 10 o'clock still with a T-shirt outdoors, having a nice summer, warm, relaxed atmosphere with everybody. Nice. And then we don't have the problems with Corona because, you can say, hey, great to see you, but you still stay apart in 1.5 meters,
right?
Following the rules. And you can still wear your mask if you're anxious. So everybody is welcome. That was the goal. So unfortunately, then I finished the story and make it complete. And then we was begging for summer dates, and then we found out that the summer holidays in Germany are, and the first date that was possible that we could get in the venue was this one. And from the beginning, beginning this week, I had my birthday. And from
Happy
knowing
birthday.
My birthday, thank you very much. And not that important this year, we shifted to next year. But because I had my birthday, and you always know everybody is remembering the weather on his birthday. I cannot say 99%, but in perhaps 50% of my birthday dates, there was a sunny day. And beginning of September, so I know the weather. There was a few rare years where there was a bit cloudy, but it's always in September. It is. It's again September. There's a song from Earth, Wind and Fire called September, and the month is for me is the feeling of this song somehow.
Yeah,
and I like it a lot because I'm in that age to have listened to these things a lot.
Yes, me too.
So September is great. So I said September, we make it in September.
Yes,
and then we have this surprisingly, from all this climate change, we know. You lost the lamp?
Yeah.
All fine? The Hausmeister's turning off the voltage.
We have mice coming in. We've got cats.
The cats. Now you want to make the cats responsible for you not having paid the bill for the electricity or what?
Yeah. I don't know. A light has gone down. So, yes, we do have new cats, though. And the cats are going in that phase at the moment of bringing anything that they can catch in. So they're bringing mice in and then letting the mice go free in the house, running under the settee. And no! Get to work.
It's not the Gaz Williams Show. It's the Gaz Williams Zoo.
Yeah. But coming back to Superbooth then. So having the event, having lots of outside... Superbooth has always had an outside aspect with, of course, the lake stage, but a lot
we call it Seaside Stage to have the same name too.
Sorry, the Seaside Stage.
The orientation. It's the Seaside Stage. Sounds even more like summer and September. September at the beach on the Seaside Stage.
Lovely. But having so there's going to be a lot of different tents or like marquees for the different exhibitors.
Yeah, so the concept was including, we had to calculate, and we had a limit of having indoors with a little bit smaller space. We had to have maximum 500 people indoors, and for 500 people, to realize the trade show for just 500 people did completely not work.
No.
So then we made a compromise and said, okay, 500 people are indoors in the morning. They are going outdoors at the rest of the time. And the other 5 people are going indoors in the afternoon, being outdoors at the rest of the time. It's a simple thing.
Yeah.
So we have 1,000 people who buy 1 ticket. And what happened? The people didn't understand it. They bought 2 tickets for the same day. Where they scheiße. So we explained it again and again. And, then people were saying, but I don't travel to Berlin because I can only buy a ticket for 1 day.
Yes.
We have to sort out how many people are in the building, which name, which address, which contact, for every of these 4 days. So, and we want to have 4 days with 1,000 visitors per day that are having a wonderful show because there's place enough. And we made everything right to have exactly 1,000 people for 150 exhibitors. This would be perfectly for both sides if they are spread the right way. And then it's safe with the one-way. And we're on the way. So we're all learning it. And if it's a good concept, we can repeat it. And it was the idea how to make it possible to make an affordable trade show somehow with all these in investigations we do with entertainment, ferry, and the mix-up of festival.
Well, yes. I mean, I'm going to cut in now. You just said trade show, and it's like Superbooth, I suppose, is a trade show. But for me, Superbooth is a festival, really.
Exactly, but it's a festival of a certain scene, and it's always connected to the presentation of these instruments. From my point of view, it's a modern concept of a future trade show. This is what I'm working on, because I think, we need to meet up. And for me, it's important that perhaps now it's not all of them, but, and I'm happy about it, but to have these, have a connection to Yamaha, to Thomann, and to Music Store, and to Detroit Modular, and to learn what they are doing, and also to lead them into being okay partners for these little bonsai inventors and manufacturers who are on their own,
Yes.
not powerful enough to
Right.
say until here and not further. You can have a few, they can have a few, but I want to control as a manufacturer who is selling it, what and where, and
But this is very
things to discuss.
See, well, I mean, this is a continuation, though. Let's just go back in time a little bit for people who maybe are not familiar with where the whole Superbooth idea came from, because I guess initially this is when you were exhibiting at Music Messe in Frankfurt. And just to pick up on what you were just saying there, rather than it being way too expensive for these very small manufacturers to have a stand at the Music Messe show, I think it was quite expensive to exhibit there, you would make a booth. The carousel, was it? It turned into like...
No, it was not the carousel. It was just to get together these brands in a smaller place. When I started my business as a rep for people like Joe Marks or Technosaurus, whoever knows about it still, but or Future Retro, I was having the job to represent them on trade shows. And on a trade show, you can book a place of 6 square meter minimum those days. And this was per square meter 500, so you are ending up with $3,000, and then you need the power to run your things, and you need the power plug that costs extra, and you need the passes and badges that costs extra, and then you need transport through the building. On NEM, for instance, it's still you need to pay extra, and in the end you pay $5,000 for a stand where you are on your own with your single machine, and you have to bring everything, including furniture, table, and speakers, and you're done until you have cleared all this. And then I booked a booth in Frankfurt 20 years and said, okay, I care for everything. You bring your units, put it on the table, and we'll have a good time. 20 years ago, I was already following another way, because, everybody was standing in Frankfurt these days saying, this is my new synthesizer. Hey, look here, I have a new software, and come in, we're having, and I was just placing a thing to sit down and having my suitcase to have some fun. And we were sitting there having absinthe with sparkling wine and was smoking. And then I was seeing the chief editor of the German Keyboards man, hey, come in. And then we sat down, I gave him an absinthe and something like sparkling wine. He said, what the hell did you do here? What is this? I said, hey, Jörg, start the music. And we was listening to some minimal techno-like track. Mark von Mesi was there. We was having a good time. And afterwards, Jörg or the guy from the debug, they was flying out of the booth, coming back in the early evening saying, hey, this was the best day I ever had on a trade show.
Yes.
Because, it's about talking. We can sell each other units over email. We can, we need to have numbers, but we want to know, who am I dealing with? Who do I trust? And do I want to support this guy with my personal energy? Do I want to share my personal engagement for a product or for a product group with this and that dealer to make his margin, like he's selling cheap stuff from China and making, first of all, turnover? This is the question. So I need to say, hello, everybody. Here I am. I'm Mr. Schneider. I'm running this and that. And this is my buddies. They can help you or whatever. This is my job. And the Superbooth was from the beginning the idea to make this on these trade show together with my buddies that I am the rep of. And then I said, hey, dear buddy with a sequencer, you take the sequencer to the booth and nothing else. And dear buddy with a synthesizer, you take the synthesizer on the booth and nothing else. Here's the cable, here's the speakers. Have a good time and push play when the trade show opens. And so they had 2 square meters instead of 6 to pay. It was still the same price, but then it was sexy. And then we had extra room, sometimes illegal, sometimes legal, behind the stands where we had our bar and had a good time. And we made it something positive. And in the end, over 20 years ago, I started it. Since 5 years, we're in Berlin now, 15 years. In the end, we was 120, square meters and people. And then we had to make it, put it on his own. You know, in the end, Frankfurt made a hell out of money with us, and now we're making it ourselves if it's good. But this time, making money is not the goal anymore.
Well, right. But I mean, I tell you, something that is very true and in Superbooth now is just, and it's lovely to hear your story there, because it rings true to the very beginning, that at Superbooth there is a lot of conversations between different manufacturers, and I'm not sure if this is something more that you find more in music technology and certainly modular synthesizer world in the manufacturers. There's so much cooperation, and I didn't hear people like really bad mouthing other people. It feels like a very cooperative and helpful environment, and Superbooth brings everybody together. And so you've got the trade show going on, but crucially there's all the partying and all of the joyful, you know, like the ferry, you know, having performances on the ferry is amazing. So you can go along the river on the way there or on the way back, and and basically keep the party going, even in the traveling aspect there, you know.
Yes, but I have to say something with the ferry. So, you know, we're a bit smaller this year. Right. We're having just 150 exhibitors instead of 2019. We're 240 or something like that. And so it's all a bit smaller because we have these COVID regulations and problems. You know, there's 2 meters in between every exhibitor to the next one. What is good and bad, you know, you can stand in front of a table and you can listen to it because there's 2 meter nothing right, 2 meter nothing left.
Yes.
And there's just 3 people together in one room and not 20. And, you know, you don't smell them, but in the end, you can still hear them and you can still hear what they are doing.
Jörg Scharf is still going to be heard, I think, across the whole site, I think, with his but
you know, the lanes where you walk through the building must be empty towards the concept, so the people are just in the rooms, and when you walk through the building, you see open doors and you have to enter the doors, and there's signs, so you enter a world of, for instance, Zeel with his outboard stuff and Head with their active speakers. But this is a room that is made for them, the Puppenbühne, where we always had a loudspeaker exhibitor where you can sit down and listen to something where it's not about making music, but about listening. To products, you know. And then there's another room where there's creative people fizzling on things that fit together, and then, you know, but you have to go from door to door and go in and watch what's going on there. It's a bit like an experience.
Yeah. Okay, it's going to be interesting.
It's another thing.
So one thing, though, for people who haven't been to Superbooth, now Superbooth a few years ago was at the famous Funk House, but then for the last 4 years, maybe, it's moved to Fez. Now, Fez is a very interesting building. Could you tell us a little bit about the building? Because it comes back from the communist era, is that right?
Yeah, it was built in the GDR times as the Ernst Thälmann Palast, and it was designed to educate the next generation in being a part of welcoming them to the adult society, introducing them in physics, experience, having place for children where the people could go with their children. There's a big park around it. It's a relaxed educational building, and you know, we do nothing else than educating our visitors in our passion, and that's why it fits perfectly with the auditorium, with stages, with kitchen, with places to sleep, with places to be in the green, with concert things outdoors, being away enough from where people live to be able to be loud until the evening. And this is perfect. And also you have silent rooms where, you know, you can close the door to the concert hall. We have few exhibitors with guitars in there now.
Oh, guitars! I'll tell you about that later. Guitars!
Yes.
Oh!
Yeah, so, you know, we make the move to understand making a trade show as a business that has to evolve into something new. You know, doesn't work in a hall of concrete. It doesn't work in Frankfurt anymore. It's not interesting. It doesn't work with unselected numbers of exhibitors all showing the same, not even knowing each other, just to make it cheaper here and cheaper there. That's not the way. We need to educate in passion and in respect against quality. And it's a very special thing to meet all these creative people together with these engineers and let them communicate with each other. Hey, why don't you do it this way? Hey, why don't you use it that way? But no, I don't use it that way. I want to have it this way. And say, okay, go next door, but I know there's a guy making something. This is results that happen.
So a big part of Superbooth then has been, apart from the exhibitors, there's been all the entertainment. There's the seaside stage, but also the big auditorium, and then other talks and performances going on. Are there able to be performances then in this next Superbooth?
Everything is there. We have Gesprächskonzerte. Die Gesprächskonzerte, it's a word from Oskar Sala, who made it once, explaining his instrument after the show, playing his show on his theremin, and then afterwards he explained it, and he used the word Gesprächskonzert. It's a lecture concert.
Lecture concert, nice.
Yes, and this is what we still do there. We offer this to exhibitors to book a lecture concert inside the event. They will happen outdoors in the park, public for everyone. And they are filmed as always. And the exhibitors have to play a concert. Even if they're an engineer, we want them to start up and play on the musical instrument.
Music!
Talk about that this is the greatest, but just make some music because we're standing there also to have a good time.
Yeah.
And afterwards, they can start explaining why this oscillator is better than that oscillator or whatever. And, then if you're not interested, and you can just go. But mostly then people say, aha, okay, this is how it works. Aha, okay. And on that stand, you can check it out yourself, and then they go there, because we have a lot of newbies who are not deep into the theme we're in, where no synthesizer users. And I think, we both are not much older than 40, but we need the next generation to follow up.
Yes.
So we cannot be the old farts 60 plus with weird synthesizer noises and the kids are, I don't know.
Yeah. No, we got to stimulate the youngsters so they keep up the tradition. But that is one thing that you do see at Superbooth, though, is a very broad range of ages. There's a lot of young people at Superbooth, which gives it a vitality and freshness. So I think it's managed to kind of tread that line very well. My light is going on and off. I'm back in the dark now, so I apologise.
I can see you well. It's fine.
There was one little funny thing I wanted to mention, though, about the building in Fez. One of my favourite things. Now, I don't think it might happen this year, but in the main foyer, is the foyer open this year? Or
yes, the foyer is open.
Oh, it is.
All have to, yes. I can just tell you a little bit about the ceremony this year, because, we all have to prove with everybody who's in the event if they are 3D checked. So that's what we do at the first door. So on the first door, you have to say, this is my 2G check and this is my passport. And then you get a badge and then you go further. And then with no touch, you make peep with your ticket, and then you get your badge, and then you go further, and then you go out. And the foyer is out of everything except our welcome desk.
the way through.
It's completely empty, and I like the idea that you see the architect, because the architecture is really great. Beautiful. With the Gala stairs leading up, and with this lighting foyer and the view to the seaside stage from upstairs. And then you can go, if you have the indoor time, you can go upstairs and you can go into the hall. If you have the outdoor time, you go out and you stand in front of the seaside stage. Yeah. Because we expect the ceremony in the morning to be a bit more time, it could be with this both things. We started at 9 o'clock, and we placed a friend of mine who's an experienced keyboard player on the stage to say, hey, Charles, you make the morning show. And from 9:30 in the morning,
Yes.
The stage is being entertained because everybody who has his badges can go outdoors to the coffee stand. You know, that lady making the brilliant coffee.
Yeah.
At the first, you can already go to the drinks bar and you can stand outside smoking something, just enjoying the weather, listen to the music from the stage, and wait until it's 10 o'clock, and then we'll open the door, and then everybody can go away.
Nice. So build a bit of atmosphere, get people in the mood. This is sounding like my kind of event. But one thing I wanted to mention, that beautiful sweeping staircase as you go into the foyer, there is something quite funny that when me and the Sonic State guys, we always like to have a little laugh at. The staircase was designed for children, wasn't it? So the stairs are shallower. No?
It's a typical gala thing, you have to dance it down.
Oh, that's why. Well, okay. But basically, the stairs are shallow. You'd normally expect a stair to be about that deep, but the stairs are about this deep. So when people...
But imagine you're the president of the GDR and you come down the stairs with your wife, and downstairs there's the welcome of the guests. Then these stairs are exactly right, because you cannot go them down different from dancing them down.
That's why I was talking. So everyone walking down the stairs, they all come down the stairs like... Dup, 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 dup.
Yes.
It's like it makes you walk down. It's so funny. So
no other way.
You could just...
That's the core of the building. Right?
Yeah. I mean, you could just stay and watch people go all day. I mean, there's plenty of other things to look at, but even just watching people go up and down the stairs or coming down the stairs makes it all fun. So, wow. Okay. So this is sounding really exciting. So what you've really done is taken a situation forced upon us all with this horrible COVID pandemic and try to be creative and try to instead of just doing something and going against fighting a system, you try to go with things and create a new experience that, as you say, may even influence future Superbooths and hopefully if this pandemic thing sods off.
I think it won't end. Because how we do it worldwide, it can't end. It will go on in India, it will change and come back to us. It will go on in Brazil and change and come back to us. It's probably a never-ending story.
Mm.
If this is over, something else could come. So we have to think about what's the
right. How to move,
how to survive with it, how to go ahead with it. Yeah. And I am making a trade show, so I have to think about, is a trade show in general worth to survive, or should it be, ist das Kunst oder kann das weg, I would say in Germany, is it great or can we throw it away? And there's a few things we should throw away, like, I don't know, planes, cars, at least a few more of them, but a trade show is mainly needed to let us smell each other and be in the same room with each other and clear all problems with finding out, are there problems? How can we, education. In the end, it's about education. And we have to learn from each other what's going on in England, what's going on in Vietnam, what's the musician in Hawaii, what's the musician in China,
yes.
What are they doing? What's the American thinking about the Germans voting? I don't know. Well, 1 week before the vote, so we cannot take it out because we are human beings and we're part of the society.
Yes.
And we placed the German vote exactly 1 week after the Superbooth to have the possibility to talk about politics a bit more intense. Why not? At least with the Germans, it's a thing. Why not?
Why not? Well, speaking of politics, I've decided to be the unofficial diplomat coming from Britain to Superbooth, just to make sure that that everybody doesn't think that Britain is horrible after Brexit, because Brexit's kind of come in at the same time as the pandemic, and it's like, anyway, I won't go too much into that, but I've decided that I don't think there's a trade envoy being set up to come from Britain to Superbooth to represent Britain, but I've taken that role on now, so I'm going to be talking to manufacturers there just to sort of reassure them to not lose faith in us, and I know there's more tape red tape, bureaucracy that we have to go through. Grr, rah, rah, rah. Not happy. But anyway, so I've taken it on myself. So if anyone who's watching, who's going to be exhibiting, you can come and grab me, and anything you want. I want to try and make sure that any connections, if I can help in any way, I don't know anything about trade, so I'm totally unqualified for this, but I just want to make sure. Anyway, it's more about spirit, almost like spiritually, that, us in Britain, and this vote has happened, whatever the reason it is, that's another conversation. But, there is, the like-mindedness that we find globally within our community is incredible. Meeting people from all over the world and being very much in alignment with a lot of morals and thoughts, and there's a lot of love in the synth community.
You know what I'm thinking about is it okay if still people are flying over to have a beer with Mr. Schneider and Mr. Williams, or wouldn't it make more sense if they meet up in the United States with each other at the same time, and we are connected like we are connected now from England to Germany? And isn't this enough? And we're all a bit, we had all these Zoom conferences now for, 2 years, and we would like to meet up in person again. And I think it's time and it's necessary. Can't survive with no physical contact, so we need to celebrate it. But I think we still need to keep something from this experience of the COVID time, to at least, it's fine. I'm having a chat with Tom Oberheim on the Superbooth on a screen. He would never fly into Superbooth, but he will be there at 4:00 on Saturday on my screen, and we will have a conversation about minutes from years ago until now, from the past and the future. Wow. And I'm very much looking forward to that.
Wow.
I'm talking about the political situation with England. I'm probably talking with Ken Macbeth sitting in Edinburgh saying, what the fuck? I can't go out anymore because I'm shy. Everybody is COVID infected, and I can't go to my workshop because there's so many stupid people because of all these regulations in the UK. And if I can't even go relax to my workshop, I'm sorry, I can't go to the airport, check in, and fly to Berlin to meet you in Berlin. I stay here. And this is totally fine, but still, we're happy to have a conversation with Ken Macbeth, and I want to make it public. So I'll take him on the big screen, put an iPad in the middle, and Gaz Williams can get on there and say, hey Ken, good to have you on board. Thanks for being there, and see you next year, or something. We have to let them know, who are at home, that we are still interested in what they're doing, and that we are having them in our community. And the other way around, we should give them a chance to put something into it. And that's why we took the concept of the Gesprächskonzert into a second line of virtual Gesprächskonzerte. It could happen that Ken shows us the latest stadium of his dual oscillator and the dual backend filter. It could happen that Reinhold Heil from Hawaii, I don't know if he's known in England, he was the keyboard player from Nina Hagen and Spliff.
Wow.
And he's an experienced film composer, and he's living in Hawaii now. And I was in touch with him. He will present his latest patch on a Waldorf synthesizer. And the guy from Waldorf is sitting next to me. Things like that. And a young, new manufacturer from Vietnam who now moved to Montreal. And we will meet up with another friend of mine in Vietnam to talk about the situation in Vietnam. And then talk about why did he move from Vietnam to Canada, and then find out, okay, how's the situation in Vietnam? Because we have a connection with a guy in China who's Meng Qi, who's producing synthesizers, who's well-known, who's very prominent, and making an interesting unit from China. And he was on the Superbooth 2 years ago, but definitely he can't come. Or Aditya from Mumbai in India. He is Animal Factory Amplification, making these a series of pedals, distortion pedals that he took into Eurorack format, and he also made a synthesizer, and he will be the first one being with me on the live stream, and so on. Nice. We have connections into the world, and this is important. And I want these people to ask them, what's going on at your end, as I did it in the home edition, where I've been talking to Jean-Michel Jarre already. Jean-Michel Jarre himself was turning into being politics, saying, hey, it's impossible that the artists are sitting at home with no jobs, and UPS and DHL and Apple and whoever is making a hell out of money with the products that the artists was generating. So they can survive with no creative input. So why not making us a bit more important in this public discussion and saying, hey, why doesn't the trade minister join this event? Because we are the innovation, and we are those ones giving new ideas and trading creative tools. That is important, more important than we're not just entertainment, we're not just entertainment, then it would be entertainment. This would work different, we're a bit more, and that's why it's important that we have the artists on board who are using things, and we have quite prominent artists on board now. I don't know if you read the program yet. There's Jan Tiersen from France, and by the way, Jan Tiersen is not flying into Berlin. He's using his caravan, a camper, driving all the way from at the other end of France to Berlin, because this is what we all should do. Not to fly from this gig to that gig to that gig and then counting down the money, but thinking about what kind of pollution is okay compared to what we're doing here.
Jan Tiersen, just in case anyone is not that familiar with him, if you've ever seen the film Amelie, the beautiful, amazing film Amelie, Jan Tiersen is, he's done many soundtracks, but that's a beautiful soundtrack of his. Incredible musician, multi-instrumentalist, and wow, what a treat. Will he be performing then?
He is playing live on the Seaside stage on the first day at 7:30.
There we go. So the
trade show ends at 7:00, so you have half an hour to get yourself a beer and feel comfortable, and then Jan Tiersen will calm you down because you take the boat shuttle back to your hotel or you stay for longer, and we all go to the other stage. So it's the core of the Superbooth to have a get together. In the end, afterwards, we're standing in the middle of a forest. We can go outdoors and we can wear our mask when we want, and we can be 1.5 meters apart from each other and have no mask because we smoke a cigarette or whatever, and we'll have a good time, and we'll listen to concerts, and we'll enjoy the music that is made with our products. And this relation is important to let the engineers understand this is the way we should go, and this should be in a high quality. This is another theme from me. I want to talk on Thursday on my talk, where I say we have to think about not the warranty. What the hell is 3 years warranty? Does it mean it can be defective after 4 years and then you throw it away and have to buy a new thing?
Okay.
This is very shitty and fucking bad, and it has to be interrupted. A product of electronic devices should last for 40 years.
Well, yes. I mean, that's the thing.
And it must be repairable. There must be something, a warranty that you can repair it, that a guy in the future can repair it. So I don't know if the spare parts. The problem is the parts. And this is at least something, the end customer is not able to understand what can be repaired and what cannot be repaired. What is in there? What kind of component? How is this guy? You need to know who's making it to understand if the product is fitting your expectations. And this is also possible here.
So, I mean, in a way, this is this is going to lead me to some questions that I wanted to ask you about your voyage into modular synthesis, and obviously how this has turned into Superbooth, I suppose. But the DIY. The DIY aspect of the modular community, is that's something that you've been really excited to be, celebrating that thing. I just want to mention first that Andreas is in a very. I was just doing a little bit of research, believe it or not, for the show tonight, and I found a video on YouTube. I'll put it in the notes. Of Andreas made for The Guardian of all things, the British newspaper, where it's
2 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's 10 years ago. So
already, okay.
But it's a little guide that you make to Kreuzberg. the district of Berlin. My light is back again. Sorry, my light is going on and off, so it's got a mind of its own tonight. But I found that was a very interesting little feature, and I thought that I would really recommend anyone watch that video, actually, because it gives a lot of insight, I think, into maybe some of your thinking. So you like, because you talk about the district there, and you talk about like how the houses were like very cheap for people to move into was it around the time of the wall coming down, or before that, maybe?
Okay, but I'm talking about that.
Yeah, in the video. But I was kind of seeing how there was certain parallels with the story you were saying about Kreuzberg and actually the modular community, and how that having lots of money isn't that you could, it's like a level playing field, that people could be making things without lots of startup capital, similar to the artists being able to be creative because they could move into this very cheap district. And I think
that's a bit gone already. To be honest, I don't remember exactly but if it's 10 years ago, the situation has changed a lot. Prices increased, and a lot of people cannot afford it. And I'm already planning for myself to move away with Schneidersladen next year.
Okay,
because, wow. The room we have in the Ritterstraße, where we have the stock room, and where that was okay 10 years ago when I moved in there with the distribution company. It was 5 years ago. They forgot to change the contract, and it automatically went into 10 years contract. And now they want to increase the rent because they can do it, and because everything around is on that level. They want to increase my rent by €5 per square meter. I can pay it, but I don't want to. And I don't want to pay €5 more per square meter because I don't know why.
Yeah.
And this is why I found something else, the district Neukölln. And that's why Schneidersladen is at the very soon next year, one day we will move away to Neukölln and open up something new, what will be brilliant. And that's why I asked my old buddy Penko to make these Schneidersladen backstage tour, to let the people understand what the vision was, because I can't take the whole vision with me to Kreuzberg. And the vision we have in Kreuzberg is just a starting point. It's a momentum that you can see now, because my neighbors and part of the family is Schneidersladen in 2 locations, in 3 locations in between, because we have the logistics and the showroom separated. We had to. And then there's Weber's Electronics around. There's the Superbooth office. There's Max Rest. And this is all at one place. And we sit outdoors in the backyard and have our spaghetti together. And you can, This is the idea that I wanted to extract. And there's plenty of people, including those who are running away from your Brexit problem and that are talking to, hey, I think I moved my production to Berlin because that makes everything easier. Do you have something for me? Can you recommend me something? And I recommended to 2 UK manufacturers, the landlord, and then they said, no, we have to increase the prices. And I say, scheiße. Okay, I will.
Yeah.
Then it's not interesting anymore. And next door they're asking for €35 per square meter, and I'm not in London, and I don't want to be in London. And
So the little story I was saying about watching that video, don't watch it because it'll make you sad. Because there I am doing research on a video 10 years old. So okay. Oh, that's it. Because in the video you are talking about how you really were trying to, want to resist the gentrification, and obviously that's happened, sadly. So yeah, still.
Yes. My landlord has another opinion, and the money is nearer to my landlord than the community we have within his thing. It's fine. I have to respect that. It's his building, so I will move 1 block further. And there's still people who own houses in Berlin who say, I don't need the money. It's fine. I'll stay on this and that level. And I think that's enough, and it shouldn't be more. There's people who own houses just to get this done, because they say it was always like that and we need this. And they understand that they need good places instead of boring supermarkets.
Yeah. Yes. No. That is very. It's super important. We're in this weird time, aren't we? A transitional time. Going through COVID, or going wherever we are in this journey through COVID, or the ongoing journey of COVID, we're not going back to how things were before. So I think there is.
No.
I think there's definitely going to be a shift in consciousness through this. I think we're
yes, but still we need to take care that we have good times. There's plenty of people sitting at home being depressed because they haven't had these personal meetings, because they are anxious of having not just COVID but the climate change. And it's the end of the world. Definitely, it's for everybody. The day will come and there's the end of the world, But let's celebrate the days before with not making too much wrong, and talk about and learn what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. And this is something we need the exchange for.
Yes. So, yes. Very good point. I'm just going to thank just going to say some thanks to the chat room, just because they're here having a thank you very much, Simon Fenn, and to Wagyu for the tips. That's always highly appreciated. I'm going to be taking some questions from the chat room. So if you've got questions for Andreas that you'd like to ask about Superbooth or anything you want really, then maybe now is a good time to post that question. I'm going to be focusing on the chat room a little bit there. A lot of the chat goes so fast I can't keep up with it a lot of the time. So so please, if you want to formulate some questions, then now would be good. I'll keep an eye on those questions as they come in. But I did want to ask a question. Now, this isn't directly related to Superbooth. It's a bigger question in a way. But why do you think Berlin has got the reputation for being like maybe the global center for electronic music?
I don't know if this is the global center or it has the right to stay the global center. It was the global center for electronic music because we've been... I don't know. We have this story with the Love Parade and with this techno and with this plenty of available, affordable places in the middle of a city after the fallen wall. And this was a very special situation. And this led a lot of people who need empty, affordable spaces to become creative. That led them to Berlin. And that's why we have a higher pressure of these people still being here, because it's their home and because they are connected with each other. It was in the end, it was also an industry, some people say. It's more the view of the people talking about the Love Parade. But in the end, I don't want to be, it's the Love Parade is not the size I'm proud of, but all this club and easy to go party, people meet up, scenery of Berlin, how I know it from 20 years ago. That was super. That was unbelievable for me when I moved here. I'm not a born Berliner. I come from the north of Germany, from Bremen, and I used to be a manager for a beta band, hip hop band. Was okay, but something completely different. And then I met these techno people over here, and I was so happy to see people making music with passion without even understanding what's the difference between A major and E minor. They don't care. They make music.
Right.
And this is the core. And this is what it's all about. Because then you had all these people who are sensible on, do I like to dance or not? Or what's going on? And this was a feeling of a whole city that I still could breathe a little taste of when I came to Berlin, because the Love Parade was existing. It was a weird feeling I was invited by the Rave Line to be on one of these floaters when the Love Parade was going around the Brandenburger Tor. And so I was on one of these buses, and it was it was not mine, but it was unbelievable to see to swim, to be on a boat in a mare and sea of people. unbelievable. And this gives you a dimension that you cannot imagine nowhere else in the world. It led to the world, led into a catastrophe, yes, but still it's somehow relevant. This is another story, but still, it was not the responsibility of the vision that these people who made it. The vision was a good one, and the vision was also, we have to show we're many people living like this, we're many people here, and something also with the idea something has to change. They wasn't always having the classical way of communicating the wish to change, but in the end there was something that should have been different, and I think it's relevant to keep it alive, at least in our memorial. So I'm not completely against the vision of Dr. Motte, who's still busy promoting something, making it a cultural information and setting it up on the official cultural brains somehow to establish.
Well, yeah, I mean, it needs to be. I mean, the contribution is so significant that it needs to be seen as proper culture, not just underground culture. I mean, it's come from the underground, but it's
but the underground culture is the relevant thing, because in the end, these the underground culture was bringing it in motion, and then it was occupied by the mainstream, and the mainstream made it that big, and I don't know. I think the underground culture, as we feel now by ourselves, this is important to set up small things that are going deeper than just geil, mach Techno, meine Maschine. It's not about making techno with the machine. It's there must be something else. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. And this is what we have to talk about. What are we talking about? So we have to go deeper. We have to grab a bit.
Yeah.
But we are what we are, and open this to the next generation. This is also very important. That's why education is also an important topic.
But I mean, I think going back further in time and the contributions made not just from Berlin, but from Germany to electronic music. I mean, obviously, Tangerine Dream and Kraftwerk are the big names. Oh, my light's gone out.
Yes.
But many other names as well, especially from the 1970s, Mobius and Rodelius, and wonderful, hugely important contributors to electronic music. And of course, the Tangerine Dream Berlin School kind of is a genre in itself now. So I think that a combination of, I mean, this is my theory, that it's the combination of the social aspects we've just been talking about, and the heritage as well. The heritage of specifically the electronic music heritage is so vital, and it's really nice to see how Kraftwerk, for instance, have been embraced by a new generation. On it goes. It's the gift that keeps giving, I think. But what I'm going to say now, though, I'm just going to look through some of the questions, because I asked for some questions, and we'll see. So Synth Anatomy, Tom, was just asking, did he get it right? There are 1,000 visitors a day, and they are cycling 500 indoors, 500 outdoors, and they have you either have a morning session indoors and an afternoon session. Just to clarify for Superbooth next week.
Yes, so indoors, there's just trade show, There's 3 ways or 3 to 4 ways through the indoor rooms where you can go in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out. And these 4 ways you can celebrate on either in the morning or in the afternoon. That depends on your ticket. And all the rest is always open for you the full day. So you come in the morning, you go out for coffee, and if you have an indoor for the morning, then at 10 you go indoors and look down the hall. And if you have a ticket for the afternoon, you go to the Zeltwald where there's Moog and 25 others, and you go to the Bungalowdorf and you go to the Fuchsbau and you see a concert. And then in the afternoon at 3 o'clock, and it's exactly the same. The morning show is starting at the morning show is the morning show. The early shift is going from 10 till 2 p.m. And at 2:30, there's a big concert on the Seaside stage. And then at 3 o'clock, the second shift starts until 7 o'clock. And at 7:30, there's a big concert on the Seaside stage.
Nice.
And in between, you have product presentations, Gesprächskonzerte in the forest for the early shift, and you have other Gesprächskonzerte in the afternoon for the late shift. So in the end, it's exactly the same, just with different brands. Yeah. But everything is recorded, and you can watch everything later on. And Gesprächskonzerte that will happen in the morning will be on the live stream in the afternoon, so you can see them in the afternoon on your handy if it's important, or you can just go there at any time. All concerts can be seen by all visitors at any time, because you don't stay for 4 hours in the hall to see these 100 people. It's not even 100. It's 100, nearly 100 exhibitors. You go in there and you pass 3 and you stop with the 4th, and you pass another 7 and you stop with the 8th. That's the usual way we do it, because you pass by and you say, this is not so interesting, but this is kind of interesting. And you're done with concentration on product after maximum 2 hours, I promise. And then you go out having a smoke, having a beer, and then you start your brain and say, I still want to go in again, see this and that, and you have to do it now, or you come back the next day. The trade show is for 4 days. And if you are really nerd, being interested on seeing all of the 150 exhibitors, you need 4 days.
4 days.
That's it. I'm sorry. This is a bit more expensive, but you have to make us survive and buy your fucking tickets, because this is the only problem is left. Yeah. We have a wonderful program. Mm-hmm. We have super concerts with a wonderful backline. We have arranged that we have perfect weather. There will be only once a little bit of rain. One of the 4 days, there's a little bit of rain, because we bought 500 umbrellas and we want to sell them. That's why I ordered once a little bit of rain. Yeah. And then you buy all these umbrellas, take them home. You can also use them against the sun on the other days.
Yeah.
But you have to stand the rain, and then you get it in for 5 minutes, and then you get it out.
That's funny. So here's a very interesting question from Steve Davis. Thank you, Steve, for tuning in. Now, I kind of know why Steve's asking this question, but very important question. And Steve's asking, I'll find the question. He's asking about whether Superbooth is going to be moving now to September, or if it's going to be returning to its original time slot.
Yes. Already after having been cancelled 2020, we had a discussion of how to go further, and we had strong discussions about what's a trade show in the future. And we follow the opinion that there will be also bigger trade shows with plenty of smaller exhibitions. So in the long phase, we planned to have not just one synthesizer trade show in May, but we will have a guitar trade show or a percussion trade show or something else. And 1 week later, there's the synth trade show, because the trade shows must be smaller, competent, and the vision of a trade show, as we celebrated with Superbooth, we believe that this could also be interested for other instrument groups. And that that's why we already confirmed a date for the guitar-based Super Grail that will happen in May. The Super Grail is a follow-up vision of the Holy Grail guitar show that used to happen in Berlin. And this is the European guitar builders. It's luthiers who are building up their stuff in handwork. And it's the same like with the synth people. There's a nerdy hand workers scene that is meeting up, showing off their guitars. And there's the other thing where all those Gibson, Fender, and import this and import that are meeting up at another trade show, but there's no expert trade show with a respect against the expertism. And that's what we planned for May. And the whole vision only works if we put both events to May again, 1 week after each other, because then we have all those unbelievable costs to set up the stages, to make the rooms, to make the ways and the directions, and to find all the staff letting you in, helping you know this way, please. There's the exit. Yes. There's the bar. Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense now. Yes.
and sorry to add this. Now we're in a special situation because we are in September and May is not far away. But what happened now is that the big companies, starting with Yamaha, Roland, and I don't know, Ableton, they said, we can't make it yet because we have to wait until the Corona situation is good, and we don't go nowhere as long as not every of the staff members is vaccinated. And I don't mind, but we're lucky that now it's just an indie trade show, this September edition. There's still Korg, there's still Moog, and there's Arturia, and there's plenty of other very competent companies, but not these big global players like Roland, Yamaha, and a company that is not welcome anymore anyway. But there's plenty of more. Forget it.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question from Harry Turner Project. This is going off topic somewhat, but name some of your earliest bands. The funniest name wins. The funniest name wins.
Oh man, Suicide Society, Absolut, Schwarz-Weiß Mafia. That used to be, and Hot 5 and the 6.
Hot 5 and the 6, nice. There we go.
Select one. But this was all early stage. And my favorite is Absolut, if you want to know what I did in earlier times. My personal favorite currently is either Togo Pogo from Absolut, that's available. It was a single that nobody needed those days. And the other one is Schwarz-Weiß Mafia with the song either Großstadtwolken or Der Maler malt die Ampel rot.
And is that still available?
I have a few left of those.
Oh, okay.
So if you want one, give me an email.
Fantastic. Okay, some more questions. Let's just have a look. Okay, a question from Marek. He says, how is Schneidersladen competing with big retailers like Thomann and the others that are now selling modular synths? And
yes, good question.
Have the economy of scale.
We're doing very well. Thank you for asking, because the COVID situation was kind of good for us because we could concentrate. We just had a new web shop at the beginning of the COVID situation, and surprising ourselves, the web shop was working out very good. It was the third time or the second time I had to set up a new thing, because every 10 years the programmers pop up and say, it's another 60 now, you need a new version. And this one, it went very good and was exactly leading us into Corona. And then we all wanted to be safe. We swapped things to make it from home, and I had to buy a few more. During Corona, through these years, we had 5 new employees in Schneidersladen.
Wow.
And because from the beginning, I said, we are running into this Bauteilkrise, the spare part crisis now. We're now, in the end, we're on, from the view of the manufacturers, we're on the same heat as Thomann and Music Store. So we became big enough to be able to survive. What is unfortunately not happened to a lot of small guys like our friend Erwin in Austria, who's now closing his showroom. He's going ahead. But he's going ahead with his business, but he said, no, I want to close my showroom and I want to go to the next level, being able to also survive such phases and having a better online shop. That's necessary.
Okay.
And I'm sure a few other of the smaller manufacturers had bigger problems. I also heard that Just Music was not performing so well. They had to close some of their things in Hamburg and Munich, but they are now just in Berlin. But yeah,
okay,
it's like that. So, but we're doing well because we're still concentrating on being able for the client picking up the phone and saying, what do you want? Okay, what do you do? And do you think it does make sense? And, talking with the people and having the conversation deeper than just this is the price and it's available and buy it. And talking to a machine, if you have a return, we ask the people to say, please, inform yourself before you buy something, what it is, how it works, because we don't want you to order things to return them the next week after you haven't even had time to pack them up or whatever.
Yes.
That's bullshit. That's pollution. And that's a bad idea of making that possible.
More unnecessary kind of movement of packaging, and make the right decision, make an informed choice, and if you need the advice, you can call and you'll get expert advice.
That's the thing.
Can't beat that. A question from Cresshead: most excited to see new thing at Superbooth that you're looking forward to?
Yes.
So what's the most exciting thing that you know about that's going to be shown at Superbooth? If you're allowed to say anything.
I'm not so much into the products anymore because I promote the general idea all the time, and my buddies in the showroom are going so fast further. For me, the biggest invention was still the Haken, and I still could not make it to have one at home or to understand how to edit a sound on it. So far behind the way, and there was a few things I was fascinated by when I saw that on social media. Ideas, to be honest, I don't know. There's this dancing stuff. There's a modular where you have again, we had this gecko ring on the finger that you can dance. And now there's one company making things that you have a clock on and then, dance your sound. This will be celebrated by Yaku, who's one of my employees in the shop and who is signed with Mute Artist, by the way. And this is the connection that we agreed that she's one of those artists that is taken over to play on the Superbooth by the Miller-Tilmer Foundation. The Miller-Tilmer Foundation said, okay, we want to celebrate our second anniversary on that event. And that was more than welcome because all these founders of the Miller-Tilmer Foundation are people like, for instance, Gareth Jones, who was, again, he's the producer of Jan Tiersen's album, Completely Analog. And Garrett is invited by the Miller-Tilmer Foundation to celebrate their second anniversary, and this is happening inside the Superbooth.
So, just for those of you, well, including myself, who hasn't heard of the Miller, so it's Daniel Miller and what
his wife, Diane Silmer.
And what is the foundation? What is that about then?
The foundation is bringing artists together worldwide, and they, for instance, made a project. The home residency where during the COVID time, the foundation said, okay, you can inquire for being supported by the Miller-Tilmer Foundation for 3 months with $1,000 a month. We just want you to make something together with 4 artists and have a result on audiovisual impact. And they was forced on the 3 months to have a monthly meeting with one from the Miller-Tilmer Stiftung to say, hey, I'm usually working with paper, and the other one is working with audio, and the third one is working with video, and we forced them to make something together and have an output. And this output will be shown over there, for instance. And this was just become creative and you're paid. Because we thought during Corona, plenty of artists had nothing to do than sitting at home. And it's not just about musicians, it's about creative people. And, we have to look over the horizon, seeing that this is all one. And then they are this time, because the Superbooth is a bit short of money after 2.5 years of no event. They friendly-wise took over the whole cost with education with the Gammons Modular Synthesizer Project. The Modular Synthesizer Project is welcoming one school class every day and a group of students on the fourth day, on the Saturday. And except the students, the school classes are from Rütli, Schule, simple beings, mixed up, multicultural classes from Berlin, and they had nothing to do with modular synthesizers before in their life, mostly. And they're coming to the Superbooth at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then he's taking them on the big stage, and then they are celebrating on 12 modular systems. And in the end, they are making a concert and a performance around noon at 1:30.
Well, they've got some learning to do then.
Yes, but in the end, they all have a modular system. They search a sound or noise. Wow. There's cases for drums, for bass, for so the singing saw and things like that are also fun, where you can do performance on. And we have plenty of workshops like this for kids on the venue.
Great.
You can book one table loop workshop, for instance. But table loop workshop is for our generation. We had that earlier. But there's another. Hamburger Elbphilharmonie is offering Klang Safari. They are taking 2 school classes on Thursday and Friday, coming with a team from Hamburg. That's the Elbphilharmonie. And they are equipped with iPads. And they're running over the trade show collecting noises. It could be exhibitors. It could be birds. It could be chainsaws, it could be something they find. They are collecting sounds and noises. And they sit together and make a composition out of it.
I'm going to find them and give them a noise. Okay. So, wow. Gosh. So there's so much happening. And so it's open to all ages then, Superbooth, then it is.
Definitely. Yeah, sure.
That's good. What else was
if you have a 6-year-old child, you have to be with it, or the kids come mostly with their parents. We have school again, so kids go to school, and those in between our clients who have children, they usually come on Saturday then and say, I come on Saturday, I'll bring my 7-year-old boy or whatever. And mostly then there's plenty of people, aren't you and then the kids are playing around, and then there's workshops on the playground, and there's concerts, and that's why there's also simple the exhibitors also do something. Moog has taken the circus tent. And I heard they made their own program in the circus tent, because Moog is opening up an own office to Berlin. They moved here at GmbH. I have the impression that this is something making Europe and Berlin a bit more important in that point of view for trade. It's nice. Good. I'm happy. As Electron had it a few years ago, they opened up something like a showroom with an office.
Electrons, Studios Berlin.
Yes.
What was I think I might have missed if I've missed a question, maybe repost a question, because the chat has moved on so fast. Well, Panic Girl was. I think I saw her. She was in the chat room. She's going to be performing in the Moog.
In the Moog tent, Moog tent. That's where I know it from, because I'm following her on one of these. I don't know. And she wrote about her performances twice in the Moog tent. And the Moog tent is in the Little Forest. And there's also other freaky stages, because in the Hüttendorf there's also, it's in the middle of the forest. And the owner said, I don't care about the regulation. I always have my stage here. I bought my own little PA system, and you can spin records on that. In the end, it's far away from not disturbing the other stages. So if they have little performances or ambient music there, it's totally fine. It's because we're not sitting so next to each other. there's different atmospheres. And then we have the third location, the Fuchsbau is equipped with that carousel. I don't know if you know that are made for the Roundhouse ones, for Daniel Miller's Mute reinvent, where you have rotating modular systems. This is placed and open to public.
Wow.
Standing there next to the droner. I don't know if you saw the droner 2 years ago. That was a guy having something like a sarcophag. You can lay yourself down and you're laying down, and then he's closing the thing and you just have the sounds inside.
Oh, no, that sounds great. Wow.
And things like that. And then, yeah.
So, again, I mentioned earlier about how the festival aspect of Superbooth is something that I've always really enjoyed. This is going to be even more so, really. Having wandering around is like turning into like a Glastonbury type thing or something.
Yeah, a bit smaller, and it's more intimate, you know, because also the artists are normal visitors and you see them afterwards. You can say thank you, and usually, you know, it's not that super event with millions of people. There's a possibility to dance. It's limited, not limited, but it's regulated. You know, there's also always an area in front of the stage where you have to wear a mask if you want to just dance around, because it could be nearer, and everywhere around you could take it off and have a beer, you know.
Nice. So Bioni Samp has said, Schneider's Laden is my favourite synth shop. Its best feature is that you can try out any synth and module before buying. How did this come about? So I guess this is a question.
We opened again for visitors already 2 or 3 months ago. I don't know exactly, but we asked them to please call in before they come. And best case, make an appointment. So we're prepared, and there's always space, because we don't want to have a situation where there's 10 people at once in the showroom. You know, in earlier times, we had 30 people at once in the showroom, or 80 when there was a workshop, and it was like that. This is not so good in these times. So we just would like to have the possibility to say, hey, it's just a bit crowded. Can you come back in half an hour and grab a coffee somewhere? Or give me your number and I'll call you when it fits. Something like that. We have the showroom daily open. We're present anyway from 10 till 7 in the evening, but in the morning we make email and packaging and sending out stuff as always. So if possible, please make an appointment. During Superbooth, it's different, because there's plenty of people coming to Berlin for the Superbooth, and that's why the salespeople will start at 9 already. The shop is open from 10 till 1 at least. You know, we expect that there's somebody coming in. This is for support and talking about orders. And then there's at the warehouse, it is open from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. For those who would like to have one day where they pick up things from us, this is possible, and this is more than welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much.
On Saturday, we're closed, as always, because on Saturday we're having children or we're having other things to do, and the musician should go on festivals making some money. And we're on the Superbooth, everybody.
Great.
The whole company will be on the Superbooth. So if you have questions, you can also make appointments over email with us, and if you want to know something, that's all possible during Superbooth.
Okay, excellent. I just want to say a shout out to Jason Jervis, who's in the chat room. I'm going to be traveling to Superbooth with Jason Jervis. Jason is the host of the Toman Synth channel. Yes. He has his own YouTube channel called Get Jervis. So he's in the chat room. So just saying hello to Jason, because he's going to be sick to his back teeth of me next week, having to travel to Berlin and back. So
yeah, cool. Yeah.
But I mean, I think we'll be bringing now a little chat to a close in a moment. So if you've got any more questions, chatties, please now, this will be your last chance to get some questions in. So we've talked about a lot of things now. Let me think. I've got some, I did make some questions myself. I'll just have a little look if there's any. Here's a question. What do you think is the greatest contribution Superbooth has brought to the music tech community?
The greatest contribution?
Yes.
What does that mean, contribution?
What has Superbooth brought to the industry? What is the greatest achievement that Superbooth has brought to the industry?
From my point of view, the importance of the communication between the engineer and the musician, because this has not been as intimate as it could become during 20 years of Superbooth soon. So next year is 20th Superbooth, but I think this is the most important thing, that we're having more respect against each other. You know, from bigger distribution companies, they talk about what's the word for it? Endorsement. You know, they're not talking about artists; they're talking about endorsements. Enough said. No, it's a bit respectless. We have this and that number of endorsements, and what does it mean? You know what they do or what?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to know. I only know the follower. It's a bit like, I'm here. I never was here because I think you cannot judge the world for the number of followers it has.
Good point.
But in the end, I'm an old fart. World is in a change. It's something that the next generation has to deal with. So perhaps you need follow. I'm still a lover of print. I don't know. Have you seen this?
Oh, look at this. So what is? Let us have a look. Let me go big.
Okay,
Yeah.
This is the Steckblatt. It's a printed thing that my wife is putting together for our clients, and we tell a bit about what we're doing here, and we're telling about the Superbooth and about our staff members and about the products that we have. And we have a client with a setup of the month, and we have deeper opinions on products from the team that is buying these things. Here's the Wing Pinger from China. We will have a Gesprächskonzert with him.
Okay.
By the way.
Not seen that before.
There's, I don't know. And then there's texts that we don't put on the website, about one product. Such a text is not on the website, but it's the opinion of a guy working for us. And this was a good idea. We already made 3. We make a new one every 3 months and just add them to our deliveries. Because, the whole professional media, including Amazona and Beat Magazine or whatever, is paid by Thomann, and Just Music or Music Store or whoever pay for this, but this is only paid by Schneider's Laden, and this is my answer.
Okay.
The number of followers. I have with 5,000 units of this, I have 5,000 followers.
Nice.
But this is physical followers, because they have this in the bathroom, and one day they're looking for the toilet paper and they find this, and they are happy twice about it. I don't know.
That's good. Marek M says, shout out to busy workers in Schneider's Laden, Maxime, Jessica, Miguel, and others. Yeah. So just I
will do. Maxime will be here for the show. Maxime moved to France and is working from France for Schneider's Laden. That's our business model, because he's French, and they had a little baby with his wife, and they was over the Corona time and even longer in Berlin. And he said, "Hey, Schneider, I have to quit. I want to go back to France with my family. We have such a nice place over there." And then we've been thinking about how he was so good and that was so nice, and he's working for us in France now. And he just wrote me an email that very soon he has his own business phone number, so French people can call him if they have a question.
Great.
That's a new step. I don't know if you remember my cabin in London. That was also something like an idea. I had a cabin inside Rough Trade East.
Yes, in Rough Trade East, yes. Yeah.
Yes, in Rough Trade East I had exactly, I think it was 3.5 square meters or so. And the 3.5 square meters was packed with stuff, and we had a phone support. There was one red phone at the wall, and That was the only rule. If you want to get in, there was no staff looking at you. It was packed with modulars and stuff. You go in, and the rule was don't steal nothing and pick up the phone when it rings. And we had a camera in there. And so we saw when somebody was in there, and from the Berlin desk, we was calling in and saying, hey, welcome on board. How can I help you?
That's so funny. Oh.
Yes, and that was going very well, but I had to fly into London once a month in the end to rearrange the cables, and that was not working well with my family life, so I swapped it again. And now having Maxime in France is another way to check it out. How does it work? Because, Miguel is working for us. He's Spanish, and there's people from Europe who are working here, and who knows what's next with the next frontier that is closing or whatever. We have to learn how to keep this alive.
There's a question from Synth Addict. How does Andreas stay so awesome? How do you stay?
Awesome.
How do you stay so awesome?
What's awesome with me? What's?
Well,
is it a compliment? Yeah,
it's a compliment.
Awesome.
I think it's like
thank you very much.
You've been doing this. What do you say? Like coming up to the 20th anniversary of the original Superbooth. So I mean, to keep the enthusiasm and to keep the drive going after all this time, there has to be something there that's driving you. What do you think? What do you think it is then? What do you think really kind of is your driving motivation?
I think it's the community of people to get them together. I used to be the manager of a band, and sometimes I say I'm still the manager of the band, just that they don't play the instruments, but that they make the instruments. But it's still a group of very personal human beings next to each other. I use the example with Ken Macbeth, who was the one who was personally visiting Mike Brown, who was the first maker of Eurorack synthesizer modules in America, dubbed for compatible. And that was the company Livewire. And he passed away with cancer. And because he invested all his money, it's already 10 years ago or so, and he put all his money into his project making these synthesizer modules, and he didn't invest in a health insurance. And then he got cancer, and he had no help, and that was a really sad thing. And Ken Macbeth was there with him, and the same later on. There's friendships because we know each other so long. Ken Macbeth was also in touch with Wo was Feynman until the end. And now Mr. Fricke passed away, and his son is working inside Schneider's Laden to learn basics about how to go ahead.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And so, we have to help each other in evolving, and we have to talk together about what is this? It's not just a business, and that's why I like a lot to do it. And the feedback of the people is helping me to hopefully doing the right thing, and helping us, I have to say, because I think I'm already understanding that I'm in the age of a little bit more than 40 now. I'm 50. I turned into 56 last week, and wow. In 10 years, I'm the classical retired old fart, and I don't want to disturb my buddies in the shop anymore with whatever they do. So I have to slowly think about how to fade out, and that's why I have to. And from the beginning, I want to trust the people that are working for me, because I'm not basically more foul is the German word. What is foul? I'm not keen to work.
Yes.
I'm not.
Okay. You want to take
it
easy.
I want to have a good. I want to go have a good time, and then I have to trust my buddies and say, you do it. Okay, do it right, please.
Right.
Thank you. That's it. And not everybody is able to do it. And I think this helps a lot if you are kind of relaxed, because you also have to find a point where you say, hey, fuck off. I go home. I do it tomorrow.
Right. I mean, so I'd imagine something like Superbooth takes an incredible amount of effort and energy and organization. And so but it must be a very satisfying experience once on the final day, or when you look back over the great sense of achievement.
Yes, but it's different this time, right. Where in all these earlier Superbooth, we always had a phase where it's getting more compressed and you're getting more to each other, and there's more and more people coming to the team, giving their energy. And nowadays we're so used to work in home office, and then the one is still here, and now people pop up. No, I have another job. I can't do it, and they heard something. We had a few. Two people that had problems with the bag, so they can't carry stuff anymore. But this time it's all a bit more complicated, and it's a bit more. But since the weather became good, beginning this week, I think, or last weekend, the sun came out.
Yeah, same
Since
here.
Then, slowly it's going. You feel that it's coming nearer, and you feel that it's all turning out okay, because if we would have had a rainy week and cold weather, scheiße, that was really. So now I think it's fine, and now we're coming to the point of. It was hard this time. Yes. I have to say. But, if now these remaining tickets are selling, because this was not going so as we expected, because we knew what we do, we planned an incredible event, and we thought, hey, why don't they grab all these tickets, and why are they not selling in 1 hour? Sure, they didn't understand what we're doing. And then we understood they don't understand, so we have to explain it again. Yeah. And then, okay, but still now we have explained everything we did. The events are on the side, all 30x concerts, and are now listed with a detailed page. You can find everything there. For every day you can plan your tour exactly on what you do in the morning, what you do in the afternoon, and you will be surprised if you do it.
Yeah.
What happens there, and but in the end, the people trusted and they just come. And for a while, we was anxious of it won't be filled up with just these few tickets. We had 8,000 visitors 2.5 years ago, and now we have to calculate with 4,000. These 4,000 people have to be there. So that's why my buddy Thomas at home was a little nervous, and slowly now.
Well, if any of the listeners or viewers or what have been on the fence, I hope after all this good stuff they're hearing tonight are going to kind of come. I mean, this is going to be my first trip abroad since before the pandemic, so I'm intrigued. I mean, we have to be careful and observe social distancing and take more precaution than normal, but I'm absolutely determined to come and have like the best time. Every time I've been to Superbooth, I've had mind-blowing experiences, and I expect this one is going to be even more mind-blowing. So I think we will end our little chat now. If there's anything else, I don't think we had any other late questions coming in. I'm just going to have a quick look. I don't see any questions. So, okay. So, sorry, Chatty's question time is over now. But I'd just like to say, Andreas, thank you ever so much for coming on the show today and sharing all these wonderful stories. I will be seeing you in person next week, so very excited about that. And
definitely we will do. So, I will expect you on Friday morning or what?
I'm coming Friday morning, so I'm going to be there Friday and Saturday. We had limited travel.
Do you arrive Friday morning or do you arrive Thursday?
We arrive Thursday. So we'll have Thursday evening, and then but our first.
You can just come even if you don't have a ticket for Thursday. You can come in the evening at 8:30 and see the very last concert of the day. That's in the public area of the park for those who can't afford the ticket for that day or who arrive in the evening. You can just come there and listen to the concert, breathe the air of the ending up Superbooth in the evening, and then you have already a good feeling coming back next morning.
Amazing. Okay. Well, yes, I'm not entirely sure of the times, but I really want to get there as soon as I can. So if not on the Thursday, certainly the Friday. But thank you ever so much. And is there any last things you'd like to say before we go?
Stay healthy and follow the rules. Wear the coffee filter in your face and take it away outdoors, and be tested if you can. The more tests, the better, because the numbers are going high, and we still have a few hundred tests on the venue to help if you need one or if you think it's good. And there's a test center directly in front of the main entrance by accident.
So, a little bit of an awkward question, though, but you do need to be vaccinated to come?
Yes, if you're either or, vaccinated, or you need a proof that you're vaccinated, or that you have been infected and that you're, how do you say it? That you're back to health within the last 6 months.
Okay.
And if you have the proof of this, you have to show that the first door, and then you get a badge to be safe, or you need a test. And please go to a test or take the test in your hotel. In Germany, you can get a test at every other litter box. More tests. There's more test stations than litter boxes in town. So you can go to the hotel reception. You will probably be offered on the airport already. Whatever. We need a test that's fresh within 24 hours. So if you are not vaccinated and if you are not genesen, you need a test every day. That's why we have this test center in front of the door. But that's 10 minutes of waiting.
Yep.
And then you're in, and then we're having a good time.
Hey, that's what it's all about. Okay, well, my light has just gone off again, so it's been on and off.
It's time for turning off the light. It's already 11:30. My kids are in bed already. And,
yes.
My wife is sitting in the kitchen alone.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, thank her for letting you spend all this time with us.
Was fine.
Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to see you there for the early breakfast coffee. 9 o'clock. Okay.
9 o'clock.
Friday, 9 o'clock, and we have an hour.
Yes, I will see you there. Thank you. Thanks ever so much. And good night. And everybody else as well. Thanks for joining. I'm going to be back doing regular shows in the near future. I'm not entirely sure when. I might just do some spontaneous shows up until then. My intention is to do a regular show. But up until then, peace and love, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. And please come to Superbooth. If you're on the fence, come. It's going to be great. Bye-bye. Woo.